In today's episode, we're discussing who are you without the grind? The identity crisis high performers never see coming. I'm Coach Jay, founder of Your Best Unlocked and creator of the Realignment Protocol. I work with high achieving professionals who've built success but feel empty behind the grind. If you ever laid down at night and thought about your life and asked, is this it? This podcast is for you. We're not here for fluff. We're not here to sugarcoat anything. We're here to recalibrate your identity, rebuild your purpose, and create systems that align with your life and not just your work. So this here is going to serve as your wake-up call. Let's go ahead and dive right in. So the first question that I want to ask you, a simple question, is if I took away your job title, if I took away your business, if I took away your success, if I took away your money, who would you be and what would you be doing? Most high achievers never ask this until the wheels start falling off. And so today we're going to be talking about why this happens, how to spot it, and what to do before burnout takes everything down. So let me set the stage here. You've probably spent years building your career, your status, your income, but somewhere along the way, you became the work. And then when the work slows down or success doesn't hit like it used to, you start feeling lost, restless, maybe even empty inside. Now, first things first, let me say this. You're not alone. I see this all the time, especially in the tech field, top engineers, medical professionals, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs. This happens a lot to a lot of people and to the people who you look at and you say, wow, that person has everything together. Because if you're one of these individuals that I named, people probably look at you the same way. Oh, this person has everything together because they're looking at your income, they're looking at your status, they're looking at your job title. And so they assume that you have everything together. But if you've ever been in these types of positions, you know that you still have multiple areas in your life that you still need to work on that have your attention. And if we're being honest with ourselves, you probably have major areas in your life that are severely underdeveloped. And even though you would like to develop them, you don't know how, you don't know where to start and how to incorporate it into your already busy schedule. Because let's be honest, you didn't get here by mistake. You got here because you were capable. You had the potential. And not only did you have it, you took advantage of it. And you were able to build yourself up to what you are now. However, if you keep chasing these external validation, this external attention, what you're saying is, I'm relying on other people. I'm relying on the outside to give me the fulfillment that I so long for. And that's extremely dangerous because now if you rely on people to give that to you, then you will always be at the mercy of other people. And so we want to rewire that to where you are the source of your own attention. You are the source of your own validation. Okay. So let's go ahead and dive into the psychology. I don't want to spend too much time here, but I want you to understand why this happens. And it's very simple. Top performers, high achievers, whatever you want to call yourself, we tie the identity to the output. And so if we have the output is high, we have the success, we have the achievements, then we start to feel good. But after a while, it stops hitting the same as it used to, okay? And that's very simple. It's simply because you've built an entire empire, but you've ignored the foundation, which is you. This is going to lead to severe consequences. What are some of those severe consequences, Coach Jay? It's emotional numbness. It's burnout. Relationships slipping, health deteriorating. And these are just a couple of the things that people that I see feel. All right. And so the hard part about this is, again, as you start to go throughout your habits, go throughout your routine, you're winning. Or at least it seems like you're winning. You probably make good money. You probably have a nice house or a nice apartment, nice car, social circle, the whole nine. But again, only you can determine when you go to sleep at night how you feel internally. And if we're being honest with ourselves, we understand that we're not where we want to be. And so I need you to understand that you can't outrun this forever. At some point, success without self awareness collapses. We see this all the time. We see people who seem like they have it all together, and then in a breakthrough interview or some tragedy, they admit that they've had severe depression. And usually if you go to the comment section, or if people are criticizing these individuals, they're like, how can you feel this way when you have all this money, when you have all this notoriety, when you have all this fame? How can you feel this way when you're in this position? And it's very simple. The reason why they feel that way is because they've built this empire for other people. And because you have been talented enough to be good at the things that matter, as far as money, as far as career, as far as all these other things, that makes, in people's mind, they believe that, oh, you're okay, you're fine, you're good. And then it puts you in a position to where it's hard for you to complain, because how can you complain when you have money? How can you complain when you have the car? How can you complain when you have the significant other? But just because you have these things doesn't mean that these are the things that are fulfilling to you. And most high achievers that I've found, they never really went inside themselves and figured out, what are the things that truly make me happy? What are the things that fulfill me emotionally? What are the things that I want to accomplish in the future? And the thing that I've noticed is that whenever we start to look at that, whenever we start to uncover this about the person, and we compare that to the life that they have, we realize that they have been building in the wrong direction. And so I actually want to highlight one of my clients here. My client lives in New York. He is a very successful in the health industry. And so what he realized was, he was successful on paper. However, he wasn't getting the fulfillment when it came to his relationships, and he couldn't figure out for the life of him why he couldn't hold down a serious relationship. And usually when we're attacking goals, or we're looking at the things that we need to work on, it usually never is the direct thing that we are trying to fulfill. In this case, him trying to get a long-term relationship. And so when we dove into the relationships that are currently in his life right now, we figured out that it wasn't the relationship that he was looking for. What he was doing was trying to replace the relationship that he had with his children. Now, of course, this is subconscious, this is unconscious. He didn't wake up one day and chose not to have a relationship with his kids. But when we dove into it, we figured out that he has been putting in a very minimal effort to his standards, that to when it came to the relationships of his kids. And so what we did is we came up with an action plan of asking ourselves, how can we start to not only build that relationship, but also incorporate it into our already busy life. It took us, I want to say, less than 90 days before he was able to have real change in this. And it's absolutely beautiful. If you go to my website, yourbestunlocked.com, and scroll down, he's actually one of my testimonials that I have on there. His name is Charlie. And just seeing the impact that this has had on not only him, but the relationship that he has with his kids, we found out that that was the thing that most fulfilled him. It wasn't getting another client. It wasn't making an extra zero at the end of his income or end of his salary. It wasn't living in a fancy penthouse. It was simply having a relationship with his kids. That gave him a much more lasting fulfillment than just doing the things that I've just named. And so the beautiful thing about this is, whenever you start to do this in one area of your life, you start asking yourself in multiple different areas of your life. And when you realize is that not only do you have time, a lot of high performers think they don't have time. You have time. Not only do you have time, but you do have the time to invest time, attention, and energy into these things that we can see is underdeveloped. Okay. And so let me first say this. This is what we're not going to do. This is going to be what I call a false solution. Okay. And so you've probably done some of these things yourself. We probably had some productivity hacks. We've probably have been chasing another promotion. We've probably been obsessed over something, maybe even a fitness obsession, maybe gaining more money, a money obsession. What we do is we try to go harder at the things that have worked in the past. But what we have to figure out is we have to figure out that what has worked in the past doesn't mean it's going to work in the future. And you're starting to realize that now. And the reason why this doesn't work is none of these fix the core issue. These are just layers. These are just layers of noise that you're stacking into an abyss. And then you wonder why we still have that empty feeling, or it's never enough. It feels good to throw things into the abyss, but it feels better to plug it up, plug the whole thing up. Okay. And so if you've been feeling this way, right, the solution that I have is actually the first step of my realignment protocol, which is I call identity calibration. The first thing I do with clients isn't talk about goals. It's stripping back the noise and rebuilding who they are underneath the grind. The beautiful thing about personal development, self-improvement is you get to discover new things about yourself. I say personal development is really just building a relationship with yourself. But like I said a couple minutes ago, when you've built the empire that you've had to become a version of yourself that was building that empire. But what we figured out is not only have we been building in the wrong direction, but we've also become a person that is not aligned to who we truly are, or who are truly capable of being. And so what we have to do is we have to strip away all of that and get right back down to the root, to the foundation. And that's where we start to the process that we go through and the identity calibration. So that's step one. Step two after that is vision mapping. We want to map out the vision. And then the third thing is the alignment loop. If you're interested in that, you could go on yourbestunlocked.com and click book a realignment call. I have a video there that shows you the exact process and what we do and diving back down into that. So I really hope that this podcast episode really helped you out today. And so again, like I said, if you need help in this category, I can definitely help you out with that. Go to yourbestunlocked.com, and wherever you're watching this, make sure you're subscribing or you're adding it to your favorites to make sure that you don't miss an episode, because this is exactly all what we're going to talk about. So connect with me on all my social medias. Follow me on Instagram, YBU, Your Best Unlocked. Follow me on TikTok, the whole nine. If you go to my website, I have all the links there, and you can follow me on your preferred platform. I appreciate you for listening to this. If you made it this far, let me know down in the comments. And then with that, guys, I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.